You just joined us. This is TMI reaching you live from Benin City, Edo State, South Nigeria. And we're taking a look at a national trend. Some are saying this will just continue till 2027 until a whole or major parts of the southeast, southwest will belong to one political party. And I keep on wondering what in the world is going on. Without any election, without primaries, as in nothing, a stronghold of the PDP in the South, Delta State to be precise, has fallen to the APC. Some would say it's been sacked by the APC, it's been conquered by the APC. Remember one of the headlines we read on one of our dailies? There's this screamer that states Tinubu has finally captured PDP. How true are these comments? Way back since 1999, it's been serious fight between the PDP in Delta State and another opposition party. You might have heard about great names like Onanefe, Bori, Ifeanyi Okowa, Oduaga, now Boiweri Sheriff. And there is always one name that's been resonating, standing so much against the PDP, Great Ogboru. Then he used to be in, when APC was ADC, some other party that was into APC. He's been a constant figure. And of course, we have a former Deputy Senate President, yes, of the APC, trying so hard to upturn, to unseat the PDP in Delta State, still to no avail. Until just recently. It was like a dream to some persons. To some person, it was a huge shock, a rude one at that. Why to some very few, they saw it coming. Without an election, both the governor, the deputy governor, the House of Assembly members of Delta State, the council chairman and the councillors, everybody just moved from the PDP to the APC. This seems to be first of its kind in Nigeria. You get to hear some persons they campaign, but not a whole cabinet, as in a whole structure. It's like uprooting the heart, spirit, soul, and body of the PDP to APC. You're like wondering what is really going on? What is happening? What is so attractive right now about the APC? Some are saying, Wilson, forget it. This is a case of either you join us or you join us. How true is this comment? Anyway, with me here in the studio, I have a very vibrant youth, a political analyst, an entrepreneur, a politician. Join me to welcome Comrade Kelly Elvis. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you very much. Actually, Elvis Brown.
Oh, Elvis Brown. So I keep calling you Elvis. Elvis Brown. Yes, Elvis
Kelly.
Brown. The Brown, like in the go Brown. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I think the PDP should please help me correct that name. Yes, Elvis Brown. Yes, that's his name. All right. Joining us virtually all the way from the U.S., New Jersey, join me to welcome Honorable Ehi Igareva. Honorable, it's a pleasure to have you join us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Wilson, and happy Sunday, viewers. Thanks for having me.
All right. And of course, all the way from Owa, we have, yes, Fred Elabaro. Honorable Fred, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nigerians, and thank you, ITV, and thank you for having me this morning.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We're expecting the like of a Sosa Ware to join us in this discussion. An invitation was extended to him, and I believe that he's trying to, join virtually as we go on with this show. Elvis Brown, did it come to you rather, as a rude shock when you saw some people be like the spirit, the soul, and the body just left one party to another political party? Now, this is the first of its kind in the history of Nigeria's democracy, because I can't think of any state that this has happened in the past since 1999.
For some of us, we're not surprised. You have a president who is a political genius, and then he has an alliance with someone like the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, and the two of them are actually strategizing ahead of 2027. But anybody should have expected that, because the PDP, after each election, goes into hiding. From 2025, you don't lose election and then you go sit back and start waiting for the next campaign season. As we speak today, the structure, the political structure in Delta State may have been moved to the APC, but the people of Delta State are not moved to the APC. The APC does not have the grassroots support. But what we're experiencing in Delta State is not just going to happen in Delta State alone. You're going to see other states follow suit. As a matter of fact, it's been happening to other political parties. Almost everybody elected under the platform of the Labour Party has decamped to the APC. The reason that is not actually trending is because it is not as massive as what we just witnessed in Delta State. In Delta State, of course, we are aware that there's been negotiations going on. And these negotiations are not just, there have been a lot of rumors around the negotiations. Such rumors that some persons have been blackmailed with the EFCC to have embezzled some trillions of naira, allegedly though. And because of that, you know, the guy is being given options of, oh, look, bring this structure to us and then you become a saint. And the guy has worked it out. And today we have every political office holder in Delta State aligning with the APC. It is going to, after Delta State, it is likely going to move to another state in the South-South. Because I think the calculation is, if you have the South-South, the Southeast, and then the Southwest, then the North can actually keep their votes. That I think is the calculation for 2027. You know, so that's what I think is happening so far. In the next few weeks, you're going to hear of other decampings coming out from this region.
All right, now before we talk about the next few weeks, let's take a look at what happened last week. You see a representative of government in Delta State saying right now it's so shocking that the members of the House of Assembly in Delta State, the governor, the deputy, the chairman, the councillors, I mean, this is, I don't know how to really describe this trend. It's frightening. It's exciting. It's like in a mixed potpourri of all kinds of emotion you could use to color this defection. Let's get to hear from Honorable A. Igariba. What do you feel about this? Did you see it coming? All right, we're trying to reestablish contact with Honorable Igariba, trying to make up the contact also through our visual inclination, the technical, how will I put it now, personalities are working on it. But if you take a look at the situation, you get to realize that some persons, like what you rightly said, are not in support of this. You said the people of Delta State, their spirit, soul, and body is still PDP inclined. How do you think this will pan out?
Well, for me, they may, like, we hail it as a fine strategy, but for every of such strategy, there must be loopholes. We've seen this play out before during the Obasanjo administration. I think it is too early for anybody to have started thinking that this will lead to electoral victory in 2027. If you are making people decamp in 2025 and election is in 2027, there are a series of events that will play out between now and then that will let you know that what you have just done is to expose yourself ahead of time. So people are going to take advantage of those loopholes. So if I were a PDP member in Delta State right now, what I need to do is to have a retrospection and reinvention. You know, sit back and ask yourself, what did you do wrong? As a matter of fact, PDP in the entire nation, what is their messaging right now? Don't see this as a defeat. What you need to look at is, what have we done wrong? And then if you have looked at everything you think you didn't do right, the next thing is to reinvent yourself, rebrand yourself. What is your messaging? I told someone in PDP, we had a conversation last night, he said, look, our party is gone. I said, no, the party is not gone. The party is only gone when you accept that it is gone. The people are with you. Because the pre-APC era and the post-APC era, the people have lived both eras. And they can tell you that, look, the pre-APC era is more favorable. Our lives were better. So if you come with a message to the people and say, look, if we take over power in 2027, we can assure you that the price of fuel can come down to 500 without paying subsidy. We can assure you that people can go back to the farm. When you start bringing those messages, people now start understand that when you were there, the truth is you were able to do these things that you are talking about. So the people are not with the APC.
Are you sure?
I am telling you.
Okay, you just hold on.
Because I
I'll
interact
come
with
back
the
to you.
grassroots.
Let's get to hear from Honorable Ehi Egareva. Did you see this coming, Honorable?
Yeah, thank you. I think it was very clear the direction that the Delta State governor had to go. And by the way, congratulations to him, His Excellency Sheriff Oborowori, for coming over to the APC. Why did I say it was very apparent that he needed to cross over? Yeah, in the last elections we had in 2023, the National Assembly elections, don't forget that APC had won 2 of the 3 senatorial races. And lately, we also had Senator Ned Woko moved over to the APC. Then you look at the chairman of the NDDC, what he's been doing a great job, and that is Barrister Chiedu. You know, Abia, he's been doing fantastically. He's from the Delta State as well. Then you look at the man you want to refer to as the ever formidable political force in Delta State, Chief James Ibori, who had wanted a particular person in the primaries that brought about Governor Sheriff, but that did not happen. So instead, he had wanted a joint ticket with Chiedu Ibie to be deputy, who ended up being chairman of the NDDC, and his own daughter also moved from the House of Reps, because in Delta State, you have also 10 House of Rep members. Hitherto, PDP had 7, now they have 4 in the House of Reps. So then there is the Oviomo factor. Then you look at, without 2 issues that would have convinced Governor Sheriff and the previous governor, Imao Kowa, to move over. First, in the presidential elections in Delta State, it was a clean sweep for the APC, regardless of the fact that they had the vice presidential candidates of the Atiku ticket from that state, but that was not enough for the people to vote overwhelmingly for Labour. And don't look at the situation that's been going around in the country, where you have now Senator Tambuwa, former Governor El-Rufai, and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar championing the cause for some kind of political re-engineering, where they are hoping to organize a coalition, to the exclusion of Senator Okowa. He's not been in the picture. He's not been brought along. I've not seen Atiku flew into Delta State for any kind of meeting with his immediate past running mates, to his ticket. But he just left him in the cold. And politics have to be played with people. So when Sheriff looked at the build-up around him, and looking at the governorship election that is before him in perhaps a year and a half's time, he knew he needed to realign with forces. Politics about who gets what, how, and when, according to, Harold Laswell. So he knew he needed to take Delta State again to the central. And if you talk of development, I'll give you an instance with those states. We had the Bini Okene Abuja Road, which was hitherto left for almost 8 years, because for 4 years there was no work done on it at all when we had Governor Baseki moved Edo State from APC to the PDP. But as soon as our state back to the APC now, and there's a connection between the state and the federal, you see the work is going on smoothly, because every government at the federal want to do well, particularly in the states that where they have governors, the governors are able to pressure on them. They are able to constantly act as reminders to them on the need for them to bring certain development to their states, and they synergize with the government, the government at the federal, and things are done very swiftly. That's why what we are having here. So Delta State also, I believe, want to key to the government at the federal, being a minority state like Edo State, so that they can have more federal development come to their states. I think that is what is logical to do. Connect to the federal if you are from a minority state.
All right, I'll come back to you, Honorable. Thank you so much for giving us, a brief history regarding Delta State politics. You talked about the Bori daughter, you talked about the Omoagege factor, you talked about Okowa not being carried along by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, why was transformed a coalition. We'll come back to all these issues, but right now, let's move straight down to Onwa, where Honorable Fred is standing by. Now, do you feel that it is because of the political journeys of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or it's just from the hearts and mind of these persons that choose to defect because of what is going on in the PDP?
Okay, thank you, Nigerians. Thank you for having me. I must say that the defection of Delta State Governor and the entire cabinet of from PDP to APC win option for PDP. The defection of Delta Governor, actually, and the entire cabinet, I can assure you, it's not just a political move, but I call it a political earthquake. And for the question you have asked, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a political strategist. And I can assure you that with build up to 2027 general election, as a strategist, he has to, do what he has to do in governance. And I can assure you that the only president we have seen that have had a listening ear is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And for everyone you are seeing rushing to be part of what he's doing, it can also be as a testimony of what they have observed within the unity in APC. Now, there cannot be a crack in a war, and you expect that war building to continue. It must be brought down, reconstructed before it can go up. I can assure you that one of my colleagues said a while ago, more are going to naturally, by default, they will just collapse and join the APC. It's not about having a one-party system. No. What it means is that people actually want development. People want the presence at the center to be felt in their state. For example, we have never had this good. We have not even spent up to 1 year, for example, in Edo State where I come from. And you can see what the governor is doing and the support that the president is giving to the governor. The connection is very straightforward. You don't have to reach out to this, to reach out to this. No. The governor will pick his phone, call the president and say, sir, this is what we need in our state. And because it's the same APC, things will be so easy. Today, you can travel. When PDP were in power, in Edo State, where you could spend from Ekuma to Bili, for example, you can spend 3 days for just a 45 minutes drive. You could spend 3 days, but now you can go as many times as you like. The Delta States, our sister state, they are watching, and all the states in Nigeria, they are watching the body language of the president. Is he really doing well? What's he doing? So you see, most states are going to defect. We must understand that defection at this level signals a collapse of trust and strategy within the PDP. At this level, it is no more, a small event when an incumbent governor traditionally, the rallying point for party structure and election machinery, crosses over to, kill loyally. It takes political equilibrium and sends message that PDP internal cohesion seriously threatened. When the center, when there's a problem as such, you cannot get to stand on your own. And I can assure you, sir, that the PDP, if they don't put their house in order, they may not even win councillor. I can assure you, because of what their party, what I call them political hungers, political self-centered people have gathered in one corner and thinking of themselves, for themselves, and with themselves. Such is what we don't need in this country. Things just have to move on. There has to be development. Look at what's happening around. We have to restructure everywhere in Nigeria. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu being who he is, and Wike, look at it. I want people to understand. I will repeat this one again. In a political system, there are gatekeepers. There are people who sees the future, who arrange. If you want the Tinubu, the man Tinubu, I started to follow him again since the time of the June 12th. I saw him videos, saw him following trend, following. And look at him in Lagos. He stood alone in Lagos. Even when Obama just had him for so long, he was able to because of his strategy.
Okay.
A man like that,
I will.
watch out for.
Okay, you just calm down, Honorable Fred. Honorable Fred, calm down. I will come back to you. Well, you've heard the opening talks. We'll go for a break. We will return. We'll answer this particular question because I'm directing it to you, Elvis. How come now that the PDP seems to be going under without rulers, so to speak? You get to hear about some of them coming out to form coalition. Is that one of the major problems or agitations of these persons that choose to leave the PDP for the APC? He's going to try to, talk around it after this break. Don't go away. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI. We're taking a look at the defection of Governor Boyewari Sherry, his deputy, cabinet, even the House of Assembly members, all in Delta State, both the chairman, councillors, leaving PDP into the APC, like wiping the slate clean. I just keep on wondering, what is now the hope of the PDP in Delta State? That will be the question we're trying to figure out as we proceed with this discussion. Now, someone talked about the disunity in the PDP. Remember that when we're talking about coalition, a faction for that same PDP says that they are not in the know about forming a coalition, that His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is on his own. Made that comment, took him out to reiterate that it's for the betterment of the party, for them to have other political party coming in tune or in sync with them, for them to displace APC in the forthcoming election. And that didn't go that too well with some members of the PDP. Can one deduce that former governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, and of course Oboyewari Sheriff, among those factions that are not in tune with the vision and goals of Atiku Abubakar in forming a coalition?
For me, I don't even think coalition is the major problem of the PDP right now. When you have people like Atiku who have actually kidnapped the party.
People may not agree to that comment.
Well, they don't have to agree. Because if a man keeps getting your ticket every year and you keep losing every year, you need to now ask yourself, is he the only one in the party who can fly the ticket of the party? Why has he not given way for other people, other more vibrant, as a matter of fact, more intelligent people to lead the party? Because this is the frustration most of them are having. Why must it be Atiku year in, year out? Because you see, the delegate system of the PDP is mastered by Atiku. He has his way around it. And so possibly 2027, he might still get the ticket. And PDP will sink even further if he does. And so I don't think coalition is the major problem. It's part of the things they might want to consider, like I talk about introspection and reinvention, but you need to first of all consider the fact that there are some persons you don't need right now. Why even start a peace talk with Wike when the guy is decimating your structure and giving opportunity to the opposition to harvest your party? You going back to him to say, you know, peace talk, let him come back, and the guy is giving you, you know, conditions that violate democratic norms. So what the party needs to do is to look at some person and say, look, relax. Let's build this party. You don't have to be on the ticket. Bring in fresh brains on board. Bring in fresh people, intelligent guys on board. You have a lot of persons who want to be part of this party. Like I said before, PDP is not small. The decamping of some players into the APC does not in any way suggest that the APC is better than the PDP. It is just this anger people have for those people who are leading the affairs of the party at the moment. And that can be taken care of easily. I want you to look at what happened in the UK in 2019, where the people felt that the Labour Party had actually drifted away from the people. And a lot of things, the Brexit and other issues were on the burner. They look at them and say, no, this party has gone far too left from the people. And the party was abandoned and they lost. Immediately after that, Keir Starmer was brought on board to lead the Labour Party. And he's the Prime Minister today. Now, look at South Africa. The ANC had the same issue with Jacob Zuma. Issues of corruption and a whole lot of issues came on board. And then Cyril Ramaphosa was brought on board to say, look, you have to help us bring the party together. Why should it be Atiku? These names of these people have been there from day one. They've been accused of corruption, they've been accused of embezzlement, even though this is not being proven in any court. But you see, in the court of public opinion, they exist. So you get to a point where you have to say, Oga, please, give us a break. You are a member of the party, you are a leader of this party, you are a stakeholder. But please, let us build something that can win elections. That is what the PDP needs right now. So for me, Atiku should just step aside. He should step aside. Not only him, a whole lot of them who, you know, have taken on this title of life leadership of the PDP. They are there in every state. You just see them, most of them don't even come to the campaigns, they don't even canvass for votes, they don't interact with the people. Let them give way. Let's bring people on board who know how to actually win election, how to bring the party back to the hearts of the people. Through messaging and through policy framework, there has to be a way to get these things done. And it is not difficult. The problem is that most of them who have actually amassed funds for themselves, while PDP was in power, they believe that these funds belong to them. They don't want to come back and say, look, let's invest in the party, bring in not just financial investment, intellectual investment. Let's bring people in to help us look at, do an analysis, of issues that we have right now, and then where we need to be, how to overcome these issues, and then the message that we need to put out.
All right. I'll come back to you, Elvis. And then move straight down to Honorable Yegariba. Now, some pundits are of the opinion that even if PDP, led by Governor Sheriff Oboyewori of Delta State and his cabinet, even the House from A to Z, PDP moved to the APC, that the people, in their spirit, their soul and body, they are still PDP inclined. How do you think this will pan out, Honorable A?
Well, PDP, as it were, was a leadership party, and the people cannot play politics in a vacuum. They need political leaders to lead them in the direction that they feel would be better for the states. Therefore, if you have your former governor, your immediate past governor moving to the APC, and you have the current governor, don't forget the governor as the head of the executive distributes the scarce values in the states, alongside with the legislators and of course members of the state executive council and the local government, both party and government structure. These are the people that bring development to the people, and therefore with this development they are able to shape, the political opinion and views of the voters. The PDP cannot play in the vacuum. The PDP, with all due respect, is no longer the party that we used to know, because one man has run for presidential election 6 times unsuccessfully, and he insists that he must continue to, want to lead the PDP. Let me tell you exactly where all this started from. Don't forget what just happened in Delta State happened in Edo State, where we elected a governor into the APC, and he moved our whole structure and went to the PDP. We only had to wait patiently, like the gentleman, Mr. Fred just said now. We waited patiently, painstakingly. We rebuked the party, the APC. We stood firm in the opposition to the PDP in the state, and it is on record that we had no tangible member who left from the APC to go to the PDP. We played the opposition. We waited our time. We went into all the elections, and in the last one in 2023, from one senator, we gained two, and we now control the House of Reps. We now control the State House of Assembly. So it takes patience. But in the case of Delta State, it was just a matter of time that the PDP knew the political structure had left there. If you have all of your three senators are not from that party, you know that it's going to be a difficult thing. The last presidential election, even though the vice presidential candidate came from Delta State and was a serving governor at the time, they lost. So the PDP have to count their losses in Delta. For me, it's a great thing. It's a welcome development that our sister states from the old Bender states, from the old Midwest states, have now decided to join those states so that we can even have more developmental, cooperation between Delta states and those states, in alignment with the federal government, so that we can develop our sub-region. That is that is what is critical to me, because being in opposition serves one to no end. Look at the issue of Gele Gele Port. It didn't happen. Look at the Edo North Airport I was proposed. It didn't happen because the former governor took us out of federal politics. We had the chairmanship of NDDC coming to us here in Edo State. The man challenged it because he was no longer in the APC, and we lost out on that and all the development strides that were to come with it. NDDC was left for 4 years. We had no input into NDDC that had funds worth trillions of naira that would have brought development to us. So, for Christ's sake, I keep repeating, for those of us on the minority, we have no business being in opposition. We must be strategic in our politicking so that we can gain from the federal government of Nigeria. Because how are you going to get a president from Delta State or Edo State if you are not hoping that presidents can come from either of these two states, which we know is almost impossible for now? So we have to key into federal politics to attract development to our people. I think Delta State have done the right thing in that regard, and that is the way I believe the entire South are going to go, because it's the turn of a Southern president, and we see what is, the cloud hovering around of Atiku, Tambuwa, and El-Rufai, hoping they can take the presidency back to the north after 4 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is an impossibility, because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not former President Goodluck Jonathan. You can't hound him out of office. It's not going to happen. He's getting a second tenure, and after that, we cannot start thinking of moving back to the north.
All right, I'll come back to you, Honorable here. I'll come back to you. Let's move straight down to Honorable Fred, that is standing by in Owa. Now, does it not mean that it's all about 2027 as opined by Honorable Egareva, that every political party is doing their calculation, trying to work out ways of cancelling the impact of the opposition, but are still the ruling party? Honorable Fred.
It's not totally the truth. But the truth again is that the road to 2027 should have a report card you should have a dossier of development. And for you to have such development, you must align with the incumbent president. And you cannot be an opposition and you think you are aligning with the president, because you will not be able to get the desired, development results in your own sphere of contact, your state, your community, your local government, and all the rest. But again, it's also true that before you can, build a structure like 25 stories, you must start to digging deep. You must be digging deep. You must be digging deep to make sure that the base is properly solidified. Everybody, they want to move to where people care for them. Bola Ahmed Tinubu cares for people that reaches out to him. That's why you are saying all these things. There's nobody that will go and be testing where is bitter, meanwhile where there is sweet. The truth again is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a person that everyone wants to emulate. They want to know how he's succeeding. And you can see for yourself what he's succeeding. When the note came out the other day that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was doing a lopsided appointment. And when we roll out the list of appointments that has been done, you discover that he gave more appointments to the North. Very destabilized person. He distributed the appointment to all the nook and crannies of this country. Such a person is a person that needs to be emulated. And that's why you see all these things. There is going to be more shock. Do you think that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on his own rather, brought Wike to the Federal Capital Territory, for example? The Federal Capital Territory has not had it good the way it is. I stay in Abuja. I resident in Abuja. Do you know there was a day I was driving? I missed it. I missed the road. The reason I missed the road was that I was trying to drive the way I was driving, not knowing that flyover has taken over the places, and the rest is history. Even when the president was asked to condemn Wike on a national television, the president said, I adopt my cap on him. It's not just Benyekenism. He is telling you the truth about a capable person that have come. And such a person, a Wike, people are also looking at him. And people are going to follow him. And people are following him to ensure that our community is about our community. Let us remove all this political, this thing we are doing. It's about our community development. Is your community okay under the status quo? The answer is no. For my community to be okay, I must actually have to rally around a person, a political system that will make my community be okay. For example, I told you on this platform that it was you who started asking what's happening in KK era, for example, what's happening there. For the first time, the governor of Edo State have to recognize a very small community and gave us life back. It has never happened under a PDP. That will tell you that the governor, the president, everyone aligned. And it's going to go around everywhere in this country so that we will not be only be seeing the political class moving, but we will be seeing the followers, the voters, the electorate. They are going to also have a good bite, not a bitter bite of politics. This is why I commend the data structure that have collapsed to join the APC, because they are reasonable. They know what they are doing. They want data state to be developed. And for the presidency gang or presidential gang that are coming up, remember that El-Rufai, who is one of the leaders of those coalitions, once told us during that campaign that fuel is going to be sold for 40 naira per liter. That never happened. So we are used to all these old lies.
Okay.
It's not going to happen like that.
I will come back to you. I will come back to you. Just calm down, Honorable Fred. I'll come back to you. Well, the debate will still continue. Opinions will be shared. Reasons for XYZ happening will be shared on this platform. So I say that with this particular move, with this particular stroke by Sheriff Oboyewere and his cabinet, that might just spell the end of PDP in the South region. After all, you can't take it away from Delta State being the strongest hold of the PDP in this particular region. Since it's been sacked by the APC, what would be their options right now? We'll talk about this when we return after this break. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI. We're taking a look at the defection of the strongest, yes, for me to say the strongest PDP hold in the South region, which is Delta State, to the ruling party, the APC. Some are saying all these things would have been if there was peace between Wike and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, that they were the ones, because of their quarrel, so to speak, made PDP the way they are today. Hence, this defection that we're experiencing right now in the country. What do you feel about this notion?
Well, I think that's true. That's true. There's a whole lot of truth to that. Wike and Atiku have had these issues over time. You know, there was a time that it was reported that Wike wanted so badly to be vice to Atiku on the same ticket. There are a lot of issues, but you can trace it back to Atiku. That man has been the reason for Wike's decimation of the PDP. Now, coming back to our region, I think that there's a lot of mistakes also going on that we need to note. What happened in Delta State is not outrightly smart move. We need to differentiate how politicians will explain it from how the ordinary Nigerian will explain it. Because the politician will tell you, oh, how great this move is. I've told you that for me it's a smart move though, but it has limitations. So the ordinary Nigerian, the ordinary Deltan, is looking at it as though this is a betrayal. This is a betrayal. Remember, Obaseki, it was mentioned, Obaseki did the same thing. It didn't end well for him.
But the thing is that when Obaseki did it, it wasn't every member,
of course,
of the APC that left with him.
Definitely.
But in this case, everybody.
No, it is not everybody. It is everybody that is elected under the platform of the PDP.
That's what we're talking about.
Of course, because PDP still has good leaders in Delta State who will remain in PDP till tomorrow.
Like who do you want to mention?
Like James Ibori, for instance.
What about his daughter?
Well, the daughter
Will
has...
the good leader allow that to go to opposition? Because that's what people are saying right now. They are saying in Delta State, some are alluding that in Ibori's case, yes, he's a PDP man, but his own action is like, you know, saying APC.
Well, or maybe until it comes out to say that. For me, these people, they love the PDP. They understand that the PDP is better off to them, and to most of us, the PDP is better off than the APC. It doesn't matter any kind of infrastructural development you want to attract to your state. The economic policy of the APC will never be able to touch the people in a manner that will make them fall in love with the APC. You can put that, take that to the bank. Between now and 2027, the economic policy of the APC will keep biting and biting and biting. You're saying it. Now, let me tell you one truth that has not been told. That truth is that a lot of us have seen, it's not just an assumption, we have seen that there is no plan economically by the APC. So how do you now say because you have built roads, people don't have money to buy for it to ply the roads? So how does that translate to loving the APC? So whatever it is, let the roads be built. The road from here to Auchi, to Igara, to Ososo, to Okene, from here to Delta, to Bayelsa, let the roads be built. But if you don't have money to buy the fuel, to ply the roads, of what use will the roads be? Or if I have to pay so much to ply these good roads, do you think that, okay, if I'm going to Lagos, the Lagos road, the back part of the road is not that much, all right? We used to go to Lagos, 3,000 naira, 1,500 naira, 2,000, 3,000 to Lagos. But today, go to the park, you hear 18,000, you hear 25,000. And so a lot of persons want to, you know, go look for a job. A lot of persons want to go to other states to do businesses, adventures, But it is becoming more difficult by the day. So the masses, they know these things. It's not about who move from one party to another to them. Because at the end of the day, the election of 2020 is going to be the masses versus the political class. That's what you're going to have. The people are not going to ask themselves, are we better off being led by these same people or getting another set of leadership in another political party or from another political party to lead us? That's what it's going down to in 2027. It's not just about having everybody in a state who is, leading another political party to collapse their structure and join you. No problem. But we are going to go to the ballot in 2027. And between now and that time, there's going to be a whole lot of experiences. There's been a lot already between the time that he got elected in 2023 and now. There's been a lot. Fuel has jumped from 200 naira to 1,000 plus. It has remained there today. And we are hearing that even without subsidy, we're not supposed to buy it up to 500 naira. And so the people are watching. And what about the exchange rate? What about other things? Come on, little things in the market. A bag of rice has remained close to 100,000 naira. It was not at that point when he came into power. In short, before Buhari came into power, it was less than 15,000 naira. So you can understand that the people that you are talking to between that time and now are the same people that were bringing money out of their salaries, out of their income, to go to the market to make purchases. So they are spotting the difference. So it's not about telling all the leaders to move to the other political, your own political party from the other political party that is going to guarantee your victory in 2027. What the man needs to have been doing is to ensure that there are policies that are making the lives of the people better. Somebody's talking about the roads from Auchi. I'm from Edono. So traveling on that road, of course we know that the road has been bad. And you are telling me that a federal government that has allowed us to suffer this long because the state government is not in the same political party with you. And now because you have a state government that is in your political party, you are now, helping to fix the road. Thank you for fixing the road. But you understand that you are playing politics with the lives of the people of our state. So these are the issues we are talking about.
All right, now let's move straight down to New Jersey. Honorable Yegai standing by. The comment Elvis made right now is still the comment a very strong member of the PDP said. He said, is the people versus the APC. Whether Delta State is now APC inclined to use the term batified is not going to change anything because the people are not happy with the economic policy of this present administration. What do you have to say about that?
I think one of the things we need to do one of the things I need most Nigerians to do is to take emotions away when they are talking about governance and government, and also to have a good sense of history. For instance, my last discussant said things about all the roads from Benin leading through Edo Central, Edo North, all the way to, you were supposed to go through Okene all the way to Abuja, has been abandoned. Don't forget that road was started during the PDP regime, precisely during the Goodluck Jonathan administration. And what happened? He left the road, he abandoned it. We had a PDP Minister of Works from those states who left that road incomplete. So please, let's have a great sense of history while doing this. Then you look at a situation where the last governor, unlike the governor we have now, Senator Monday Okpebholo, who went to put palliatives on that road so to save lives. The former governor, instead of doing a palliative job while awaiting the federal government to do the budgeting for that job, instead he went and put signboards there that this is a federal government project, so whatever happens to those citizens who are daily plying the road, they are actually on their own, and that he has ceded that portion of Edo State to the federal government. When you talk about having your playing politics to the central, a lot of things come to mind. For your information, when the presidency proposed a budget, you have senators, you have state caucuses where the senators, the House of Rep members come together to work on the budget. that is where specific projects from different parts of the state are injected into the budget, and funding is found for those projects. That is what leads to its implementation. So when you take your people out of APC from the central and put into PDP, a minority state, they may not be able to make adequate budgetary allocation for those projects, and that's why those projects are left behind. Not because the federal government wants to leave the project behind. The federal government proposes a budget that will be passed by the National Assembly. When you have, at the last instance, the PDP senator, the APC senators from Edo South and Edo Central, don't forget, moved into the PDP. They became an opposition party, and so they will not have a lot of say when it comes to budget rejigging and retooling. And so they cannot provide funds for projects for your state. That is why it's important that the structure of government that you operate must be supported by the people, so that they can get the dividends of democracy down to them and have those laudable projects implemented in their various states and constituencies. So, having said that, if the people of Delta State were with the PDP, they would not have voted en masse against Ifeanyi Okowa when he was running mate to Atiku just in 2023. They would have wanted a vice president to come from Delta. Instead, they voted for a Peter Obi from Anambra, which from Labour Party as well, which means they have since left the PDP. And I told you of the story of the senatorial districts. I don't know which areas the PDP was controlling. Senator Ned Nwoko just left the PDP. He's not coming as a standalone politician. He comes with his supporters, and of course he's able to convince his voters to vote for the presidency of his choice. And that's what we are going to do in Edo State as well. And that is why it's important, because in Nigerian politics, mainly political leaders are the ones to help you canvass for votes, help you supervise and monitor your election, and ensure that you win at the polls. Even when you lose, you still need your political leaders to collate and bring evidence for you to go to court or to the tribunal with. So you can't downplay the importance of the political leaders in the state and the direction they are capable of leading the electorates in.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move straight down to Honorable Fred, that is there. And you have been saying that you've not had it this good because of the APC administration, because of the Okpebolo administration, of course, Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. But because of Nigerians, they are complaining bitterly about the administration. We want to go by what you said, juxtaposing it with the opinions of the people about the harsh economic realities. Do you think that even with the defection of all members of cabinet of Delta State government from the PDP to the APC, do you think it's going to make any difference in the forthcoming election?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I want to say that it will make a lot of positive impact in the coming election. Everybody that has defected in Delta State has followers, and that's significant. And I want to quickly say that there will be no much campaign. Actions, results is the end of story. There will be no much campaign, because what the APC would have done between now and the election time would have spoken volume. My colleague in the studio mentioned that there is hardship. I agree that there is hardship. Nigeria is a place where political instability, political war has occurred. I mean, when I say war, don't misinterpret what I said. When a war is fought in a place, for you to start reconstructing the place, it takes time. Tinubu met a lot of political instability, underdevelopment, and so on and so forth. And that's what we are building. He just mentioned that things are expensive. I agree. But what the President Tinubu has put in place right now, by the time we sustain this for another 3 years, for example, the refineries have started working. Buhari, told us that they are going to fix all the refineries. Throughout 8 years, no one refinery was fixed. But two refineries have started operation right now, and they are working skeletally. They will work all in full in a few months. But let me tell you again, now, if you have heard about compressed natural gas, which actually cuts transportation up to 90%, 90%, because if you want to buy fuel to travel from Abuja to Lagos, you spend about 50,000 naira fuel or thereabout. But with compressed natural gas, you will spend 9,000 naira. And the president has started by distributing free compressed natural kits to the commercial operators, the National Union of Road Transport Workers. They've had it free. And I cannot tell you that even the workers have started benefiting from that as they are being profiled for that. So the government, they are very intentional about developing this country and making life better for an ordinary Nigerians on the street. This thing cannot happen by magic because they didn't come by magic. It was a systemic underdevelopment system that was caused by PDP over a long time. And you do not expect a Tinubu to just come and fix it under 24 hours. It's not possible. It has to be a gradual process. And we all can see all these things I'm saying, you can find out for yourself. They are all true for every one of us to verify. The Tinubu administration is up and doing to ensure that every member of Nigerian community is experiencing a better life. So for my people in the PDP and all the coalition, what you can do for Nigeria is to come together, create and formulate a policy. This policy submit it to the federal government. Tell Tinubu, please, we want this thing to be implemented as a policy that will salvage the situation of this country. Ganging up will not amount to anything because we already know you. Every one of you will know what you have done. And as I always say, there's no vacancy in Aso Rock in 2027.
Here you go again. Here you go again. Comment Fred, here you go again. People are saying that comment of yours is not true. You can also, there's no vacancy. Anyway, I'll come back to you. I will come back to you. Well, we will take another break. On return, we'll come back to conclude this particular discussion. Because of the move of Delta State government, Edo State PDP came out to have a very strong meeting, reassuring members of the party and, of course, Edo State citizens that PDP is intact in Edo State. How true is this? Are we going to see defection in the PDP in Edo State? We'll return. My analysts will try to profile answers to this particular question. Don't go away. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI reaching you live from Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. It's all about the defection of Sheriff Oboyewari, the governor of Delta State and his cabinet, even the House of Assembly, the chairman, the councillors, all of them dumped the PDP for the APC. They left the shades of the umbrella to pick up the broom. I keep on wondering, what is so special about the broom when you want to, compare it to the umbrella? Anyway, as it happened in Delta State, a few days later, the PDP in Edo State came out to say, look, despite the fact that our Delta State brothers and sisters have chosen to take this step, we are good. We are intact. So the former candidates, yes, of the PDP, Aswai Godado also was there at the meeting. He was a candidate of the PDP in the just concluded election in Edo State, to give them this boost, this support, and of course, Chief Nosaka Lucky Benede, also two-term governor from the PDP, the Edo State, was there. And you saw the speaker also of the Edo State Assembly present, and some notable PDP personalities, and of course, a man I respect so much has been there. Yes, Obume has been there in the PDP, refused to the camp or across carpet. He's been there. Do you think this meeting of stakeholders of the PDP will make them still be loyal to the PDP, even if they're in the opposition in Edo State?
Of course. The APC, as we know it, was never a party that was formed. It was a coalition of people or political parties. So don't be surprised when you find them still striving to get other political parties to collapse to join them. That is their structure, that's their foundation. So they will require SOT to actually survive the party. But the PDP on its own has members that have been there, like you said, from day one. Like I said, they are not going anywhere. They are not going anywhere. I think what they need to do now is messaging. You know, my colleague from Onwa, elder brother, he was actually comparing APC with APC, the Tinubu administration with the Buhari administration. The issue is not what you think that they can do. I think the major issue is what they told us they were going to do. That's the message. What did you say you were going to do? Buhari came with a lot of promises, $1 to $1, fuel at 14 naira. A lot of those promises, none. Security was one of it, none was achieved. Then came Tinubu again, a whole lot of promises. The promises are these bogus promises, and I tell you, the only thing on the agenda of the president right now is 2027 election. It's his priority. So everything he's doing is tailored towards that 2027 election. And that is why I tell you that the people are not the central, they are not the focal point of his policies. So let's come back to the issue of the PDP in Edo State. Are there going to be more people who are likely going to decamp to the APC? Of course. A lot of them might or will still live for the APC. But between now and that 2027 election, you find most of them coming. Don't forget that politicians are shameless. They don't have a shame. Let me tell you, the moment we get closer to the election, you see them asking questions, trying to realign themselves. They ask themselves, where is the benefit? It's always about me. What do I stand to gain? Where I am today. Like they said, these people are going to the APC because they feel that they want to align with the central. Most times it's not about the people. It's about what you can get secure ahead of the next election. They want to be rightly positioned, rightly placed to get one or two things for themselves and maybe for those around them. So that in 2027 they will have enough to procure the election. But the question is, are you doing this for the people? If you are doing this for the people, you would have gone to consult with the people. You would have done your own internal audit, introspection. You would have asked your people questions. Where are we? The popularity of the people that voted you, are they with PDP or with the APC? If you don't care, if you do not care, therefore, it shows that your moves are not about the people, but about yourself and about the power. You want to retain the power, so you don't care. As far as you are concerned, the end will justify the means. This is what we get from the Nigerian politicians. They just want to get the power, stick with the power for as long as you can. If the power moves, you move. Why are we doing this shifty shifts? And so basically, political parties in Nigeria are not actually political parties, but political platforms. So if the platform will help you get what you want, you move there. If what you want is no longer there, and is now in another political platform, you move there. But if they are political parties, they are built on ideologies. You need to ask yourself, is the APC in line with my ideology? If they are not in line with your ideology, you won't go there. So it's not about interests.
It's all about interests.
For them here, it's about interest. Ideology is zero. Because the first thing they ask themselves, just like every other speaker has said, aligning with the federal so that you can get some, benefits. That's basically, they may not use the word benefit, but that is what it is. So it is not about this in aligning with your ideology, resonating with the people that you represent. So you can say, my people do not want me to be there. Why? Because that party has ABC policies. And because of these policies, I cannot be there. What are those policies? Ask yourself, in Delta State, how many people are able to go to farm? Insecurity is at its peak. And people are saying the reason they are moving to another political party is because they want to align the state with the federal. For what? So that your state cannot be secure, more secure than Edo State or more secure than Bayelsa State. You cannot see that it's not about the people, it is about the politician and the politician alone. And I think all this has to stop. This is where the opposition political parties come in. Tell the people the truth. not just what they want to hear. Tell them the truth. The truth is that you can sell the fuel at 500 naira without paying subsidy. So why are we paying so much for it? Tell them the truth. Let us know you can do it and show us how you can do it. Tell the people that our farmers can return to the farm and produce food for us to eat. So that we will not have to wait for someone to bring onion from Sokoto or Bauchi before we can get onions to buy. Let the people know that if you take over the leadership of the state, they can go to the farm, they can return to the farm and farm. Tell the people also that their businesses can be protected and not violated.
It's like you're campaigning.
I'm not campaigning. I'm just telling you. These are the truth. Let me tell you. Every business owner in Edo State right now is feeling the brunt already. Of course, I personally, I am not a PDP person. But the 8 years of Obaseki helped businesses in Edo State. Whether anybody wants to believe it or not, business owners were happy. There were no intimidation, there were no frustration, but is it the same thing today? So these are the things you need to look at. So the people are smart. Let them stop insulting the intelligence of Nigerians.
All right. Thank you so much. That's your last line on this particular discussion. Let me straight down to New Jersey, round over here. Everybody standing by. You heard about the meeting of PDP stakeholders. Do you feel it's going to change the mind of those persons in the PDP that may want to defect? The position of being on standby is like Eon's Pascal moment. That's like, a one mouse squad in the PDP that refused to change is just there. We have Chief Lucky Nosaka Igbenede, also two-time governor of Edo State, still staying strong in the PDP. We have so many of them. Who's on the speaker saying yes, even as well Godalo also saying yes, PDP, we are strong, we are, unshakable, unmovable. Now, what do you feel about that?
Well, attempting to sweep the dirt in the PDP under the carpet with a view to gaining stability as a result of refusing to look at what brought them to where they are. We only leave them where they are right now, and that is in opposition for a much longer time. First things first, they need to go back to the drawing board and find out that when PDP was in opposition in this state, who were the people who stood firm for the party and ensured that the party remained formidable to the extent that even while in opposition, they were able to win 2 Senate seats. They won a majority of the House of Reps seats, and they remain a viable party. Who were those who ensured that that happened? And the question will be, where are they today? And how were they pushed out of the party? How were they unfairly treated? Those are the questions. If you don't answer those questions and resolve those issues, you're not going to move forward. The PDP, for me, is self-destruct. And where they are right now, they occasioned on themselves. You cannot tell me that in Nigeria, after Buhari completed 8 years in office of two tenures of 4 years each, that the PDP gathered against the ideals of the founding fathers of the country, of the party, that there must be equitable distribution of power, and that power must rotate between the south and the north at least every 8 years. A northerner having completed 8 years, the PDP gathered again and gave their ticket to another northerner who was going to be running for the 6th time. I mean, that was not going to hold water. It was even the PDP governors, the APC governors, I beg your pardon, in the north, led by El-Rufai at the time, who said, no, this will disintegrate this country faster than any other thing. We cannot let it be. We in the north we don't behave like this. We believe in fairness, equity, and justice. If we have had our 8 years, then the presidency must move to the south so that everyone gets a sense of belonging. That is where the PDP problems are coming from. And they've not resolved those issues. As we speak, they will still have that issue when it comes to zoning again. Because Atiku again, he's positioning himself to clinch the ticket. So we know his allies are mostly in control of the Edo State PDP now, and so they will be giving him the ticket again. And the people at the polls will resist any attempt to remove a southerner for all his worth from power and install a northerner. It's not going to happen. We will not let it happen. With that being said, just the last couple of days, I attended the World Bank and IMF spring meeting in Washington, D.C. I think Nigerians also need to look at global economic outlays to know where Nigeria finds himself within that committee of nations in terms of global economic development and outlooks. So, if one person sits down in one part of the world called Nigeria and you are saying, oh no, the economy is not doing well, have you looked at the economies of all other countries around the world? Is the story different? Is there any country that its economy is booming at the moment? The answer is almost no country in the world. The entire world is heading towards a global recession. Nigeria is part of that world. You cannot isolate Nigeria. And again, have you bothered to ask these same questions you ask of the presidency in the PDP years before this current governor of Edo State came in a couple of months ago? Did you ask how much allocation was coming to the state governor since Bola Ahmed Tinubu became president? And was it commensurate to the development that was taking place in the state?
All right.
You have to ask the same questions
Thank
of the
you.
local government chairman.
Thank
Development
you.
stems from bottom to top and not from top to bottom.
Thank you so much. You said PDP should trace their step to when someone said they want to continue for another 8 years. That is where they'll start finding the solution. I've probably been speaking in the name of this particular person, says he is the one that started all this. PDP would have been very, very strong. Anyway, let's get to hear from Honorable Fred, order from Owa, your last line on this particular discussion. I know you are in love with the APC, definitely in love with the APC, but do you feel that more persons will decamp from the PDP to the APC, even after having that stakeholders meeting? Briefly.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay. I want to quickly say that before I continue, let me take a quote from George Bernard Shaw. You know, he said, stagnation is an inevitable result of an unwillingness to adapt and learn. You know, the PDP, you cannot continue to mislead the people in terms of your prowess, your words. No, that does not transform anything to the ground. Somebody was saying just now, our colleague in that in the studio said that business were better in Edo State under the governor, the former governor Obaseki. But I can assure you that that's not true, because under Obaseki, almost most of the tangible projects that were done, that were seen, they were all what I call, you know, a snooker. You see from the end, you are not seeing from the other end. Businesses were totally collapsed. I took Obaseki to ECOWAS Court over, you know, ceding of our land, of our Onwa rainforest zone to his allies, leaving the farmers to suffer. That's a discussion for another day. But for PDP and for the APC, I can assure you that in the coming days, more PDP, they are going to truthfully decamp. They will, by default, they will decamp because they have seen everything. Let me tell you a scenario. The president or Governor Okwewu doesn't need to do any more campaign. In my community is an example. And you know, development is about communities. It's not the urban, it's communities. In my community, you cannot come there and say a PDP, because for over 20 decades, no development has come. But Okwewu just came. Do you know what? The people, when it's not even time for campaign, disaster happens. The people saw government present. Do you want to tell those people to decamp to PDP? No, now they will stone you because they have seen development. Result. is the end of story. PDP, they know that they have erred in this nation, and they have to wait until the land is able to be healed. And we will know in future, maybe 2030, 2037, 4040 or 2040, they might come back. But my
You've got
last
to
word,
be kidding me. Seriously? Honorable Fred, really?
there is no
2040, 2047?
2047.
Thank you.
There is no vacancy in Nassau.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Fred. People will differ with that opinion of yours. Well, you've heard the guests, they've expressed their views and opinion, but what are the options left for the PDP? Some are saying this is the beginning of the end of the PDP. Others are saying no, it's not the beginning of the end. They can re-strategize. There's still hope for the PDP. They can cash in on the loopholes in the APC vis-a-vis harsh economic realities. Some are saying it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. The world is a global village. Go elsewhere, the experience is the same. How do you think the PDP can wriggle out of this situation? One of the analysts said, go back to the beginning where a man said he wants to come to run for presidency, having, had someone that ran for us a presidency for 8 years. He want to make it 16 years. That's why Nigerians rose and said, no way, it's not going to happen. The big question now is, what next for the PDP?